Well, welcome back on the streets. And you're in for a treat here. This is everybody's worst nightmare. A New York liberal, hardcore, dyed-in-the-wool Hillary supporter. Yes, a rebub. And every cliche and every contradiction and every hypocrisy you could ever wish for is wrapped up right here in this one woman. So get ready to have the puke bag ready, because this woman will make you sick. So, I'm out there suffering this punishment so you guys can get sick. Ha! And if you enjoy this, you know what you do. If you like these kind of things, you hit that old like button, and then if you aren't already subscribed, you subscribe, because that'll keep me out there, Because if I'm just talking to myself, what the hell am I doing it for? So, you hit this share, of course, to let other people know I'm out there taking the slings and arrows of the things that most people never want to even put themselves up for. So, and if you really want to help me out, of course, you go buy something. The designs that I have that you see and more are all at my shop, tons of them. And they come with the trigger back guarantee. If you do not trigger a liberal wear my designs, you will get your money back. I haven't had to pay out yet. So, and then of course, there's always my PayPal account. For my regular subscribers, if you can, I would love for you to go ahead. And for the new subscribers, if you really like what I'm doing, $5 a month, that minimum. Come on, chip in, give me something there, because this is an outdoor gig I do, and the weather's crap. I can't get out, and it hurts my income. For many donations I get out there, and I don't make that many anyway. I mean, today is New Year's Day. I was out there for 6 hours. Tons of people in town because of the bowl game, the Sugar Bowl. I made a grand total of $33 and change for 6 hours. It doesn't take me very far, so I need your help. So if you would, please contribute. And that's all the begging I'm going to do here. So without further ado, let's get to the punishment. And God bless you all.
Is the voter one newer or no?
Which one? This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
One with the pulled plug. Boy, oh boy, some world we're living in these days.
I'm telling you.
It's crazy.
No, it's insane. I could almost take crazy.
It is insane.
Yeah.
I belong to a very active Indivisible group up there.
Which one?
It's number 16. I think there's a little more of a name than that, but Indivisible 16. It's very, very active. I mean, I participate a lot, but there are other people who are the powerhouses. I show up, I go, I do, I knock on doors, do the stuff. But what a bunch of powerhouse, mostly women, men also, but overwhelmingly a women's movement, at least in our area, which is sort of the Bronx into Westchester kind of area.
Now, what is the makeup there politically? I mean...
Well, New York State just turned its state Senate Democratic, which was a big deal.
Yes.
And we had a sort of caucus called the... I'm sorry, I'm so out of it here. The Independent Democratic Caucus, the IDC. Excuse me.
It's New Year's Day.
Yeah. Although I really didn't have much to drink, so I can't blame it on that. But the IDC was, there were 6 representatives who kept voting with Republicans who had been in power for a long time, and Indivisible managed to get 5 out of the 6 of them out. So there's a lot of movement up there. As I said, we have the state Senate now, so we'll see what they do with it. I just hope the Democrats can get their, pardon my language, fucking asses together and agree on something so that they can do something. Everyone is so divided, even within parties, that the concept of finding, a compromise towards a greater good I mean, I was so angry with, for instance, the Bernie people who wouldn't vote for Hillary at the end. I was like, if for nothing else, think of the Supreme Court. I mean, think a little bit ahead of exactly what you want right now. I mean, once Bernie was out. But there were a lot of people who wouldn't vote for Hillary, and so we got Trump. And so I very much a liberal who think liberals have to agree.
Well, don't you find the liberals becoming, I mean, there's a big leftist push.
There is.
Taking way off center.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, you got the Cortezes and, you know, and,
you do.
And they're really taking it to a place we've never been before.
And where most of the country can't live. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you've got this many people who are going Republican and this many people who are going Democrat, and you've got to kind of aim for those people who can be swayed. That's a pretty small amount.
But you really thought Hillary Clinton would have been better?
Than Trump?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think Trump is an abomination.
In what way?
Well, first of all, I guess I know about Trump since the 70s. I'm a New Yorker. He's a New Yorker, right? So, aside from until we got to politics, we all watched him cheat on wives with Nick's wives. We all listened to his Howard. Well, he did. I'm sorry if you don't. Are you a Trump supporter?
Well, politically, I'm looking at the things he's done and who he's at, what he's been against. I mean, I'm looking at primarily, I don't think we, the people, essentially been in charge of much of anything since they killed Kennedy. Once they killed Kennedy, I think the deep state became entirely entrenched in running our country. So we have been having people like the FBI, the CIA, corporations, the military-industrial complex really running things.
You don't think that's happening under Trump? Then I
No, why are they against him?
A lot of them are not against him.
A lot of them are. I mean, look. I mean, he had his own party against him. He had the most of the media against him. He had Hollywood against him, Silicon Valley against him.
Back up a little bit further, and then we can come back to this. I'm not trying to avoid it. Yes, he absolutely was a cheat on his wife's publicly in New York. I mean, this.
What does that have? I mean, we don't bring up morality. Let's bring up Bill Clinton.
No.
I mean, he cheated in the White House.
I thought Bill Clinton was absolutely guilty of that, and please don't misunderstand. It's not like I think Democrats do everything right.
Yes.
I consider myself an independent thinker.
I understand that.
So let's not talk about.
But then why bring up the morality of Trump and not the morality of Bill Clinton and the Clintons?
Bill Clinton.
I mean, Hillary Clinton was in there too, actually going after the people that Bill Clinton raped.
Well, first of all, rape is a very strong word.
Well, he did rape women.
Well, a lot of people consider Trump did, so you can't say that you...
There's never been allegations of him, or that were... I mean, you understand that there were court cases that were settled out of court with Bill Clinton.
Understand.
And we have women that, you know, credible women that were raped, and his M.O. was to bite their lips so they wouldn't move.
What I would say to you, sir, and so we may end this conversation sooner, although I'm happy to engage, is you're actually interrupting me when I'm saying something and attacking it with a Clinton thing, which is... Well,
because you brought up the morality
I was going to continue.
Trump.
Excuse me, may I continue?
Sure.
Just let me continue. So there's that. There were... I, as a woman... I heard his interviews with Howard Stern and many others through the decades where he talked about not respecting women. So as a woman, I'm very offended by this man. I mean, you can look them up and Google them, where Howard Stern said to him, because they were talking about all this, shit, and Howard Stern said, but, you respect women, right?
All of his ex-wives they get along with him.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're really kidding yourself. They are bound in by the most tight...
Can we get beyond that to policy? Can we talk to policy?
But let me just say one more thing.
Sure.
I know people who work for companies who work for Trump Industries.
Yes.
And Trump Industries notoriously, and has been sued more than pretty much anyone, don't pay their bills. So what I'm saying is I've grown up since the 70s knowing that this is a person of extremely low character. And So I'm not talking about
In
morality.
contrast, if I may, I have spoken to at least 24 people out here that know Trump personally, have done business with him, CIA or the Secret Service that have protected him and the Clintons. And I mean, again, people that work for him that I've spoken to.
I know people who work for him also, though, so I could tell you the others. And so I have to, since I don't know the people you're talking about, I understand you've talked to them, but I know the people who've worked for him. I know them personally, so obviously I'm going to put more credence on that. Aside from that, coming forward from there, his campaign was of such. I don't want a leader who is a bully, who is I don't. I'm all good for a strong leader. Please don't get me wrong, I'm a strong person myself.
You don't think he's a strong leader?
Oh, no.
No?
Tell me something. What strong leader fires their staff by tweet? The staff don't even know about it. How do you explain Rex Tillerson being finding out by tweet? And I could name a bunch of others. This man doesn't have the balls to look someone in the face and fire them. That is not my kind of leader.
I'm not so sure about that. But let's go into policy.
You can say, but wait.
Rick, if we talk policy, can we go...
Sure, talk policy.
Yeah, well,
Go ahead. Which subject would you like?
Well, let's just look up foreign wars. I mean, there was just a headline yesterday I read that, and this is Trump's words, we need to get out of these endless wars. He's pulled out of Syria. He's gotten peace with us with North Korea.
I'm sorry, which papers are you reading? Because North Korea has not stopped one drop of their nuclear development. Not one drop.
They certainly stopped being as belligerent as they were, and
they stopped obviously testing all. I mean, do you believe in none of our intelligence agencies? Do you believe Trump over every one of our intelligence agencies? This is a serious question.
Yes, as a matter of fact, for this reason, I've talked to enough intelligence people out here.
Because I'm an unintelligent person, and I'm telling you, I've known about him since the 70s, and I know people who know him personally, and I know people who worked for his casinos, and I know people who worked for companies that did their building maintenance. So I'm sorry, that's a pretty...
And again, we could go one-on-one with that.
But I want to go one-on-one with that. That's a weak link for trusting Trump over all our intelligence agencies.
One thing I do particularly really applaud him for, and I don't know who you can find fault with this one is that in the second month he was in, he started the pedophile task force ring.
I'm sorry, started what?
The pedophile task force ring.
This is like a joke. Okay. No, please go ahead, because if you don't know the things that he did during the beauty pageants, going in where there were underage women into places, then, you have a very...
Again, this is all rumor. But I do know this from people I've spoken to that are in the task force ring, that the last time I checked, and this was like 6 months ago, there were over 15,000 pedophiles that they had arrested. They have busted many major rings. The pedophile rings.
Number one, find me documentation, not someone on the street told you it.
No, there is plenty of documentation. Matter of fact, he signed, I can't remember the bill, but it was a restitution bill for children that have been abused by pedophiles. It was a restitution where they have to pay now for the, So he is aggressively gone after people that abuse children.
I hope that's true.
Oh, it is true.
Well, first of all, I don't think anything you've told me up till now squares with anything of the multitude of people in reading that I know. Do you want to be on that side?
No, but again...
But I'm just saying, so I will research it. I don't mind that. I mean, I hope he does some good things. I absolutely hope he does some good things, but I think he has demonstrated in so many clear ways. You go ahead and you look and find one senior member of his cabinet that he looked in the face and fired, because there isn't one. This is a man with very low character. You know about Trump University, I assume.
I don't find that to be true.
I know you don't find it to be true, but I suspect you do not know a lot of the things that I do know.
And again, one of the things I enjoy about being out here is I do get to speak to a great many people. And I have to take them on their word. I don't know why they lie to me.
Well, you don't have to take everybody at their word. You try to do independent research.
Well,
on
I do also
sites,
that, ma'am. I'm
on
not exactly,
nonpartisan
I'm not
sites.
out here on the street talking about things that I don't do my homework
But you're
on.
telling me a lot of things that because this person said it and that person said it. And
Only
let's
because
face
they
it,
back it up.
they are-
I mean, the Secret Service agents I spoke to, who both protected the Clintons and the Army guys, I spoke to
How many people
both.
do you actually think you spoke to who did that, who are on the level? I mean it. No, it's a serious question. Are they stopping here and talking to you about that?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about people who are on this detail and on the Clintons detail,
Yes.
and multitude of them.
Yes.
That doesn't strike you as a little odd?
What would be odd about it when I would ask
how
them,
many of those
when
people
they asked,
even
when they
exist?
told me that they show me their credentials and say we have, we're the detail for Trump. And I'd ask them, well, how long you been this, and we've been senior this and senior that. I go, and we also protected the Clintons. And I'd ask them, well, what was the difference between protecting the Clintons and Bush and Trump? And they says, well, the
Okay.
Clintons, to be polite, and this is what they would say, to be polite, at best would tolerate us. Trump, the first day in office, he called each one of us into the office, and
Sure, he's good
one by
at-
one,
he's good at that.
and he sat us down and he said, I want to know if you have any problems, because if I can help you fix them, because I want you to be paying
I
attention
understand
to
what
the
you're
job.
saying, and I'm listening to you.
And so he greets them. He says he greets them.
That's
He
'cause-
treats them like
do you
people.
know- I'm
The
sorry,
Clintons
what is
would
your name?
treat
And
them like crap.
And even if I believe, and I do believe that's entirely possible. That
Oh,
is- but wait.
And I heard of more than one.
Okay.
There was a man out here
Sir,
who was in the
can I
Army
say
who had
something to
detail
you?
with the Clintons. 3.5 months he was a deal with them. And I asked him the same thing. How did they treat
So
you?
your point is taken. May I answer that? Or respond to it? Not answer it. It's not a question. May I respond? Number one, you wanted to not talk about character, so we moved on to that. This isn't what Trump does. He's very good at being personable and making deals. Everybody who knows anything about
But
him knows
you
he's
started
good at-
out saying he
he's-
wasn't, that he was a bully, that his
Well, he is a
character's
bully.
rotten.
No,
So
no, I'm
which
sorry.
is it? Is his character rotten? Is he
I'm
a bully?
sorry, sir.
Or is he good with people?
What-
Which is it?
He is.
I mean, which is it, lady?
I-
Is he good with
Okay,
people
first of all,
or is he
if you
not
start
good with
sounding like
people?
you're attacking me, I'm just going to walk away, obviously. But if we're having a real
I just want a
conversation-
clarification on
And
that.
I'll be happy to answer.
Because
you.
you're
If you are-
contradicting yourself.
No, there's nuance here. Bear with me. You're not going to listen to me anyway, but I'll give it one more shot. One-on-one, he's very big on creating personal loyalties and trying to make, a connection. He's very big on that. He always has been. And so this is not surprising that he would do this with the people that he's dealing with like that. That is not surprising. Now, in terms of him not being a bully, I don't know what you call someone who calls Marco Rubio, who happens to be very strong on foreign policy. He's not my cup of tea, but he has his strains. Little Marco, and
What's
calling
wrong with that,
women
Mr.
dogs
Bubble
and
Boy?
whatever.
You know the story on him, don't you?
You know what? If you haven't listened,
You know the story of Mark Rubio, don't you?
I don't care about us
You
story.
don't?
No, I don't, because I'm never going to be voting for him unless he was running against Trump, in which case I'd vote for him. By the way,
Bubble Boy? Bubble bath boy.
Somebody-
He used to go to bubble baths.
So
with
what?
I'm talking about the parties where you'd be nude and bubbles would be up to here.
Oh, excuse
You
me.
know.
If you are talking about that with Trump, the man who has paid off more strippers and had so many affairs, what's going to
At
come
least
out
that
of
were women.
Well, actually, there are cases that are being litigated of underage, but that is a different issue. I don't want to talk about that because you and I don't have the proof on that, but proof has been coming out. If you are, you want to defend
Certainly
this-
plenty proof on the Clintons.
You're a typical Trump person, actually. You keep talking about the Clintons. The Clintons are older news now. Deal
I
with
would
Trump.
think so. They, as a matter of fact, got quite a
That
bit
is-
influence
Anyone who talks
that's still in there. I mean, she's even talking about running again.
No, she isn't. No, she is not. She is not. Where are you hearing this stuff? Where are you hearing it? No, I'm
There
not
was a
really
picture
gonna-
just yesterday
In
that
what
she
newspaper
published.
or what?
It was a tweet of hers. It was a tweet of
That
hers.
she's still running. That's thinking of running. I do not think that that tweet is true. Shall I Google it right now?
And they have got a quite.
Shall I
Yeah,
Google
go
it
ahead,
now?
Google it. There is they have
gosh,
quite a
this is
bit of
just silly.
influence from the blackmail that they perpetuate.
Oh my gosh. You know, there is so much.
The Clinton Foundation alone was a slush fund. And
Okay.
what about Uranium One? How do you square Uranium One?
I don't, and that is a concern of mine. And that is a concern of mine. But let me say,
Well, it's a pretty big concern.
Excuse me. Well, honestly, I'm more concerned about what Trump is doing. But
Selling uranium to the Russians.
you know what, sir? You don't listen to anything I say anyway, so thank you very much.
But what
this
could
is
be
silly.
worse than selling uranium to the Russians that we need?
Selling us out to the Russians, selling us out to Saudi Arabia. I mean, solely selling. He has been-
Where?
Have you followed the number of indictments?
Where did he sell us out to the Russians?
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Let's. This is really nuts.
I mean, he
So-
killed over 250 Russians in Syria.
Okay, so. Okay, number one, if we want to talk foreign policy, there is not a single defense person, a high defense person, who thought we should pull out of Syria the way we did. Right? Trump.
So now you're for foreign wars? The Democrats are for foreign wars?
You know what the problem is talking to Trump people is there's no nuance. You attack me
No,
because...
I don't get understand. I used to be a liberal and I was against the foreign
I
wars.
think-
I'm still against the foreign wars, and now I'm seeing the liberals say, well, he's pulling out of Syria. Well, shouldn't we pull out of Syria?
Well, okay, number one, I don't know that we should right now. We are down
Why
to...
not?
Why not? Because everyone is saying, except Trump, that ISIS we're doing well with it, but it is not done. And we are deserting the Kurds.
Matter of fact,
who
there was a
have been-
headline in the paper yesterday with
I
a
have this
former
here.
defense secretary that I think was if I'm not mistaken,
Okay,
a Clinton backer,
Mattis,
said that
who could be more of a hawk than Mattis, and he resigned over this.
Mattis is
Excuse me.
deep state. He is a
Everyone
new
against
world
Trump is
order.
deep state. Okay.
Well, the deep state
Sir.
is deep. They call it the deep state for a reason. It's deep.
Okay, so all of the Republican generals.
I
and
mean, take a look at
admirals and
Brennan
everything.
alone. Brennan took his oath to office on the Koran and voted communist in college. This is the man that was the head of the CIA.
Let's try to fact check anything that you're saying.
Look it up. Brennan took his oath to office on the Koran. Take a look.
Well, first, you know what?
Look that
Why
up.
am I looking it up? Because everything I've told you that I've looked up 100 times. You
Look
know-
that up.
Excuse me.
I'll tell you what. I'll pay you money to look it up. I'll give you $10. Look it up.
You know what? What would you like to see him do? I'd like to see him in jail where he belongs. There we go.
For what?
For what?
Yeah. What would he be going to jail for?
Well, first of all, how many lies, outright lies, did his administration get caught on about their contacts with Russians? Do you have any idea?
Give me one.
Oh my God. Here, let's look that up
Yeah,
for you.
sure.
Because
Look it up.
almost all his top, including, by the way, Jared Kushner, but almost
And what's wrong with talking with the
Flynn.
Russians? I mean, that was their
Now,
job.
That's an interesting question. Maybe, possibly. Well, first of all, some of them talk when they really should not have in terms of where they were at in the process. But even excusing that, they all lied about it in paper. So there are
Well, that was a process crime that they were committed for,
excuse me.
you know.
When
But
you
there was
have-
no, for one, collusion is not a crime. There's no crime against
Yeah,
collusion.
you have really bought the party line.
Lady, I'll bet you money on this one. I'll bet you 10 to 1. There's no law against collusion. Look that
Okay,
up.
it depends whether collusion. There's a lot of ways that collusion gets defined.
I will
Again,
bet you money. I'll give you 100 to 1 odds. I'll give you $100 to your $1
depends on the
that there's no law against collusion.
This is not enjoyable, and neither of us.
I'm going to offer you $100 to your $1. I have $100 on me, a $100 bill. You put up $1, you look it up, and I'll guarantee you there is no law against collusion.
Well, Okay, it depends on the nature of collusion, and since you clearly
It's either not or it is.
Actually,
What's
not
the
true.
nature of collusion? What you tell me?
Well, first of all, there's collusion that's not with a foreign government. Foreign government is different.
There's conspiracy, but there's no
and
collusion.
some collusion is considered conspiracy, and that is the point.
Well, then where is it? What collusion went down? Tell me the collusion.
You know what, sir? Neither you or I are going to learn anything.
Tell me
here.
the collusion.
Let's just look up how many of Trump's, let's see if we can find it easily, because I'm not spending more than another few minutes there. Let's see, how shall we word this? I mean, first of all, you know how many indictments and guilty pleas there are, yes or no? Or have a vague idea? Know anything about Papadopoulos and Flynn?
Again, all
and
process
of those?
crimes have nothing to do with Russia.
Well, that's not true, but okay. And that's just not true, sir. They all have to do with Russia.
Manafort had nothing to do with Russia.
Well, Manafort, it's Russia and the Ukraine.
Flynn, it was just a matter of, bringing a guy in and saying, do you remember that meeting on Tuesday? Yeah, I do, but it was on Wednesday.
So you don't know anything about the charges of him working for a foreign government and that there was actually a plan, including a consideration kidnapping plan of the, I forgot his name, the Turkish gentleman who is legally in this country, but Turkey wants him back. Do you know anything about this?
What does that have to do with Russia?
Well, okay. First of all, it has to do with Flynn, and you know what?
You're not being clear on anything, lady.
You
won't look anything up and show me, so I mean, I'm just, please.
Okay. We'll look up two things. You pick one.
Well, look up the Quran, that Brennan took his oath of office on the Quran.
Okay. I mean, all right. Did Brennan take his oath of office on the Quran? And if they say yes, by the way, then we're going to Google why. 1 second. Type.
Oh, yeah. Google isn't left-wing at all, though. They haven't been censoring.
Okay, then why am I looking it up if you're not going to believe
it?
it?
Well, look it up because it's there.
But you just said that.
I'm just saying is, you do know that, that there is a great deal of censorship, if anything, right of center on the internet, of course. You are aware of that.
Okay.
I mean, you cannot deny that Silicon Valley is extremely left.
I would just say, I'm not denying it. I don't actually have enough proof. I would say that
even Zuckerberg himself admitted that, yes, Silicon Valley is very left. Look up voted communist in college. Voted communist in college.
I don't care because that was 45 years ago, and lots of people have swayed.
As an individual, you go working for the government, if they find out you voted communist in the past, that you would have a very hard time getting a job with the government.
Did Brennan take his oath of office on the Quran? Is there any site here you would like me to click on that you would trust? Okay, anything? You no doubt want the one, is he a Muslim?
Well, Snoops is horrible.
Is there anything here you would trust? I'm showing it to you, sir, because you clearly...
Snoops, you got to remember, Google has already been caught.
Oh, gosh. I looked up what you said and you still don't believe it.
Well, I don't believe Google. Google is extreme. Matter of fact, there was an article just the other day, a study that came out. A study that came out where the algorithms purposely push down anything conservative and push forward anything liberal.
You know what? You asked me to look it up. I looked it up. It didn't come up the way you want. You go to another excuse. You sound like a good Trump person.
Yeah, so.